This is 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, team coverage of historic rainfall and flash flooding.
That siren, that state of emergency, that state of desperation, the brown water. I mean, you knew it was full of dirt, sewage.
A life lost. People rescued from the rising waters.
Basically, she has nothing now. Nothing.
Homes ruined.
It breached to the main floor, and the floorboards are probably gone.
Cars submerged. People forced to evacuate after more than a foot of rain falls on the bi-state. And we're not done with the rain yet. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking more heavy rain moving into the metro area overnight. And Scott, we certainly don't want a repeat of what we had this morning.
And we're not anticipating one. And right now the radar is fairly quiet around St. Louis. That's the good news. But that rainfall from last night, early this morning, really tallied up. As much as a foot or more of rain fell in some spots. Much of the metro area seeing 7, 8, 9, 10 inches. You can see the heaviest band went right through the heart of the metro area. And look at some of this information here. All-time record broken for 24-hour rainfall in St. Louis. Records go back to 1874, over 9 inches of rain. We weren't even close to the old record, which was the remnants of a hurricane from 1915. They came through here, the Galveston hurricane, with 7 inches. Now, the radar is pretty quiet around St. Louis. We are noticing some development, though, parts of mid-Missouri back out towards Kansas City. Yes, there will be more showers and thunderstorms developing as we continue through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. Yes, some of them will produce downpours. What we will not see this go round is a continual train of thunderstorms marching over the same areas with that intense rain. So yes, more showers and thunderstorms will arrive after midnight, more likely after 2 or 3 o'clock. Additional downpours are likely. It will not be as intense as last night, nor will it last as long. Most areas around the St. Louis region will see anywhere from a ½ inch to 2 inches of rainfall, which still is not good considering how much rain fell last night. But it should keep moving, and we'll not see a repeat of what we saw last night. More on the timeline of that and the next batch of storms after that in a few minutes, Mike.
And as we've been reporting all day, the record rainfall overnight left behind a lot of damage. It was also deadly.
St. Louis firefighters found a man dead this morning in a car that was submerged in water at Skinker and Enright. City firefighters responded to 70 different rescue calls before noon. That's just the city. They also responded to reports of flooded basements in low-lying areas near McCausland and Southwest.
Lieutenant Governor Mike Keogh, acting on behalf of Governor Mike Parson, signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency. This allows the state to coordinate with local agencies to provide assistance to flooding victims. One of the hardest hit areas was University City.
Our Robert Townsend talked with homeowners along Trinity and Dartmouth Avenues tonight.
It looked like the end of the world. It looked like the apocalypse.
Marisa Scott woke up early Tuesday morning and could not believe what she saw outside her home in University City.
I was worried that it was going to keep on rising and that we were not safe.
Rising floodwater, reportedly as high as 8 feet, quickly turned Trinity Avenue and several nearby streets into rivers.
So right here is where the water reached.
The record rainfall flooded the family's basement, seeped inside their dining room.
It hit this room, hit the kitchen. There were puddles in the kitchen.
And left their 3 cars submerged in muddy water.
This is the dried debris that was within the water.
The young couple and their baby moved in with Marisa's mom last month. They lost lifelong treasures, including her mom's artwork, antiques, and precious photos of her beloved grandmother, Maria Shep-Shevech. Scott's 90-year-old grandma was a Holocaust survivor and author.
Losing the paintings and the old letters and records is just an incalculable loss.
You can see the water line right there.
The relentless floodwater also crept inside their next-door neighbor's home.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's all the way up on our main level.
A few blocks away,
just something that happens unexpected.
The view from my apartment window.
Everyone is still talking about the unexpected fast-moving flooding that pushed dozens of parked cars down saturated Cabanne Avenue like toys. This Jaguar landed on top of a fire hydrant. Neighbors say the powerful high water also swept this dumpster a half block away, right into a floating car. Chris Wells caught the historic flooding on video with his cell phone.
Never seen anything like this.
I just am happy that we survived.
In University City, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Dozens of people are staying on cots tonight as the American Red Cross transitions the community center in Richmond Heights from an emergency shelter to an overnight shelter. We counted about 100 people in the shelter when we were there a short while ago. Some people telling me they weren't sure where they're going next. For now, they're safe, with the Red Cross providing food, baby food, clothes, and blankets. Some of the evacuees had harrowing stories of the flooding.
The police came and hit the door and said, "Everybody get out, everybody get out." And he was knocking on everybody's doors, and I just grabbed medicine and threw it in a bag, and we ran out in the hall because the apartment was filling up full of water.
So we lost a lot. It's like we woke up to losing a lot of stuff.
How scared were you?
Yeah, so now we don't know where to go, what to do.
If there is any silver lining, we saw a number of volunteers coming to the shelter and helping the Red Cross by dropping off clothes, food, and blankets.
Metrolink has been stopped in its tracks by the flooding. Tonight, officials say normal service may not be restored for weeks. The De Bolivar station was completely flooded this morning. That water has since subsided. Trains from the Central West End to the airport cannot operate for the time being. Riders in the city and county are asked to seek alternative transportation.
Parts of St. Charles County saw more than a foot of rain. In O'Fallon, 17 people were rescued in the area of Bellew Creek and Veterans Memorial. Crews were out as early as 2:30 a.m. rescuing people from both their homes and their cars. Tonight, St. Charles County Emergency Management reports no injuries or deaths.
Unfortunately, animals at a local shelter were not so lucky. Our Pepper Baker joins us from St. Peter's. Pepper.
And Mike, the flood water levels came up to the windows here at Stray Paws Rescue on the outside, and on the inside the water was just too deep for some of their puppies, and by the time the staff showed up, unfortunately, it was too late. Come on in.
Stray Paws Rescue President Linda Raver is used to hearing dogs barking when she steps through the shelter doors, not giant fans and vacuums.
It's just not good. So,
Take your time.
it's all right.
Anything else?
So when we got here, everything was pretty much floating.
St. Peter's hit record flood levels during Monday's overnight storm. With Highway 70 shut down in the morning, it took a while for Raver to get to the shelter, and for some of their animals, it was too late.
The big dogs were about chest high in water. We probably had around 25, and the 10 puppies were the only ones that didn't make it. And that was because the water was just too deep for them.
It was all hands on deck for the St. Charles County Regional Emergency Management crews.
Most of our damage and problems were north of 70. There's a few pockets south of 70 and other places in the county where flash flooding was an issue.
Director Chris Hunt says St. Peter's was one of their hardest hit areas.
Most of those businesses were affected by the flood, but what you won't see is bad attitudes. They're working together. No time for complaining. They're cleaning up and they're trying to get back in business.
That was true for Animal Talk Medical Center in Wentzville, the new temporary home for the 15 dogs that survived.
We had one dog who got a little cold. He was a little hypothermic when he came in, a little shocky. We got him warmed up and some IV fluid. He's lucky. He probably wasn't too far beyond those puppies here.
Aside from minor scrapes and bruises, Dr. Jacob Lucas says the other dogs are fine and will stay there until Raver can get them to their foster families.
We're doing okay. We're going to rebuild and go forward. Stray Paws Rescue does a lot of work saving animals from being euthanized in other states. And they rent this building out, and they told me that the landlord does not have flood insurance. But Raver says that they've received an outpouring of support from donations after posting the damage online. Live in St. Peter's, Pepper Baker, 5 on your side.
North County wasn't spared from the flooding. Here's a look at the Florissant Meadows Shopping Center at Lindsay Lane in Lindbergh. The water reached halfway up some cargo vans. And the fast rising waters in Hazelwood left many stranded. Crews were called in to rescue people from their homes. Flooding also caught issues across the river in Illinois. Flash flooding closed roads earlier in St. Clair County. Many impacted by the flooding in the Metro East woke up to water so high they had to evacuate.
It's like we woke up to losing a lot of stuff.
How scared were you?
Yeah, so now we don't know where to go, what to do. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Told my sister, look outside.
40 dogs at St. Clair County Animal Rescue were also displaced.
Forest Park wasn't spared from this morning's historic rains. At the St. Louis Zoo, the roof of a distribution building collapsed. No people or animals were hurt. We're told damage will not affect normal operations for zoo goers. Flooding forced the Muni stage to go dark for tonight. This evening's performance of Legally Blonde was canceled. Muni officials say the waterback stage was waist high this morning. The staff has been working around the clock to clean up the damage.
We plan fully to have a show tomorrow night, so however many minutes we have between now and 8:15 tomorrow is what we'll be working.
As they say in the theater, the show must go on. Tonight's performance has been rescheduled for next Monday.
Thieves targeting certain cars.
And if you have a Hyundai or Kia, it is vulnerable.
Our I-team uncovers the design flaw, making them easy to steal, plus how to protect your ride. Hazard of the job. Close call for our crew covering today's historic rain and flooding.
And not a repeat performance on the way, but more rain is expected to arrive in St. Louis later tonight into tomorrow. We're tracking that and when quiet time finally arrives for St. Louis.
An O'Fallon, Missouri man will spend the rest of his life in prison for the murder of a young pregnant mother. Damien Delgado was sentenced today to life without parole. He pleaded guilty to the November 2020 murder of Amethyst Killian. She was stabbed more than 20 times. Her body was found in some brush not far from her home in St. Peters.
Tonight, we're learning more about the arrest of the Sunset Hills police chief on suspicion of boating while intoxicated. Stephen Dodge's attorney says his client was arrested June 17th while driving a boat on the Lake of the Ozarks. He adds the Camden County prosecutors have not yet charged Dodge with a crime.
My client was not intoxicated. There were witnesses that will testify that he absolutely was not intoxicated, and he had no issues whatsoever driving the boat.
A judge has already dismissed a refusal to take a breathalyzer charge. The Missouri Highway Patrol told 5 on Your Side today their criminal investigation in the case is still pending.
A ban on electric scooters in downtown St. Louis will stay in effect until the end of the year. City leaders enacted that ban last month in downtown and downtown west to cut down on large groups of kids who were causing some issues. In a letter sent to Lime and Bird today, Public Safety Director Dan Isom told the companies the decision is based on positive community feedback.
No matter where you live, no matter what community you live in, if you have a Hyundai or Kia, it is vulnerable.
That warning tonight from St. Louis police, where car thefts are up for the year. 5 on Your Side has been reporting this problem for weeks, and tonight we've learned why they're so easy to steal.
Our I-team has been looking into this problem, and our Christine Byers learned the cause of it.
Donald Nelson of Shrewsbury learned his car was easy to steal the hard way.
Whenever I walked out this morning around 5 a.m., it was gone. So you can see my car taken off.
What were your thoughts?
Immediately, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get to work?
He called police and checked a Facebook page where people post pictures of lost and found cars.
And if you just keep going, it's Hyundai Elantra after Hyundai Elantra.
The I-team found that Nelson's car is just one of thousands of Hyundais and Kias that have been stolen nationwide in recent months. Police say the problem is in the ignition. Thieves can start certain types of these cars using USB cords, and it's happening all over the country. Police in Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, Columbus, Cincinnati, and dozens of other cities are reporting huge spikes in thefts, and say that thieves have even named a gang after their favorite brand.
That theft is connected to the rash of Kia and Hyundai thefts by a group called the Kia Boys.
In the city of St. Louis, we see that Hyundai and Kias are just being used to joyride or being used for other crimes, to commit other crimes.
St. Louis Police Captain Janice Boxtruck says the younger the thieves, the worse it is.
They have less experience in driving a vehicle and possibly more courage.
So far this year, 669 Kias and Hyundais have been reported stolen through the end of June, compared to 137 last year. That's a 388% increase. Take Hyundais and Kias out of the equation, and Boxtruck says car thefts in the city
would be dramatically down in St. Louis instead of up in St. Louis.
Boxtruck says the cars weren't made with immobilizing technology, so the USB cord can start the cars. Some Kias newer than 2011 and Hyundais newer than 2015 fall into that category. Kia and Hyundai sent us statements saying their motor vehicles meet or exceed federal motor vehicle safety standards, but they didn't answer our questions. Kia wrote, Kia America is aware of the rise in vehicle thefts of certain trim-level vehicles in the St. Louis area. Hyundai wrote, Hyundai Motor America is concerned with the rise in local auto thefts. Both companies added that safety is a priority and vow to install new technology to stop theft. Police found Nelson's car 1 month after it got stolen. It ended up here at Terry's Tow Lot in Maplewood. Nelson's insurance company totaled his car. Now he's looking for a new one.
It will not be a Hyundai or a Kia.
Police recommend a club, which can lock your steering wheel. We've listed where you can find them, along with how you can contact your automaker at KSDK.com. For the I-Team, Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
Well, some of the most compelling images of this morning's historic flooding came from 5 on Your Side viewers. Joe Collum shot this video today. The River de Pere on the left shows the rising rapids reaching the bottom of the bridge. Just hours ago, he shot the video on the right showing a lower and much calmer river. Harrowing moments this morning for 5 on Your Side reporters Sydney Stallworth and Mercedes McKay. Pattonville firefighters came to the rescue after their car suddenly became trapped in floodwaters near the Earth City Expressway and 141. We're happy to say both are okay.
Let's get back to the Chief. And Scott, 1 in 1,000, right?
Yeah, that's about the probability of seeing this much rain in, a 6, 12, 24-hour period. And look where, a very narrow band, but look where it ended up. Starting out here into Montgomery and Warren counties and working through Lincoln County, sliding right in through the heart of the metro area along Interstate 70, and then across the river into St. Clair and over into Washington County. We had a good area around St. Louis with 8 to 10 inches. A pretty large area where we saw 8 to 10 inches of rainfall. One of those spots here in the Florissant area where near the airport, of course, we had 9 inches. The reports around Florissant were closer to 7. So let's just say, being very conservative, that 7 inches of rain fell in Florissant. Over 1 acre of land, that amounts to over 190,000 gallons of water. And so just this morning, that's 1.57 billion gallons of water just within the city limits of Florissant in North County. Now, the good news we have for you tonight is that we are not looking at a lot of rainfall around the metro area. The radar is not coming to life like it did last night at this time. Yes, there are some showers out to the west. Most of it's north of Columbia, back out towards the Kansas City area. We still have this front down to our south, and it was over 100 across southern Missouri today. So you have all that warm, humid air sliding to the north over that front. That, again, helps create showers and thunderstorms. But unlike last night, they keep moving, and they're not going to move over the exact same spot continuously with that torrential rain like we saw last night. So by daybreak tomorrow, some of us may have seen another ½ an inch to an inch, inch and a half of rain, and we may get another ½ an inch to an inch after that before it settles down. Some of that is going to fall on the same areas that saw the heavy rainfall today, but the trend is for the heaviest band to set up just a little bit south of where we saw the heaviest band yesterday. And areas farther south of St. Louis are still in need of rainfall. And so that's a good thing if we can keep it to our south. But the big news there is it's not as heavy as what we saw early this morning, and it keeps moving, not over the same areas. Now, we get into Thursday. We still have a chance of seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Emphasis here is more scattered activity. It keeps moving as well. Hopefully the front slides through Thursday night, and so Friday the rain chances get squashed and pushed to the south of us, and highs will only be in the lower 80s. Now, as we get towards the end of the weekend, the heat starts working back in for next week. By the middle of next week, we're looking at mid to upper 90s for highs in St. Louis. That transition will bring in another chance for showers and thunderstorms by Sunday and Monday. Again, tomorrow morning is going to start off wet and soggy for some of us, even in the metro area, but certainly nothing like what we saw this morning.
Well, at least that's good news. Scott, thank you. Frank is here with sports.
Well, Mike, what pitcher out there could help the Cardinals the most at the trade deadline? I'll tell you. And a local woman is trying to make history on a golf course in Alaska. We will explain. Stick around, please.
If you have a tip for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, call us at 314-444-5231 or email 5onyourside@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
The Cardinals and Blue Jays opened up a unique series. You see, for the first time in their 130 years, the Cardinals had to play without their two best players because they were not vaccinated. Welcome to the year 2022. Dylan Carlson homered in the first inning tonight. He had 2 hits. I wonder if he could be used as trade bait. I hope not. Albert Pujols will not be traded. He had an RBI base hit in the 3rd. Albert is hitting .308 in July. Now smile if you feel that hit was rather fortunate. Yes, sir, he'll take it. The Blue Jays opened up the game in the 6th inning. The great George Springer delivers a grand slam off Junior Fernandez. Now, I want you to check this out. This is David Phelps from Hazelwood West on the mound. He went a scoreless inning tonight. 5 players from Hazelwood West have made it to the big leagues. What a factory. Toronto wins it big, 10-3. More interesting than the Cardinals' game tonight is the Cardinals' moves at the trade deadline. John Mozeliak has plenty of cards to play. In fact, the Cardinals have 7 prospects ranked in the top 100. That's why so many national experts have said the Cardinals could put together a great package for Juan Soto. That would be a mistake. This would not be acquiring Luis Castillo from the Reds. Of all the pitchers who could be available in a trade, Castillo is the most appealing. He has a sub-3 earned run average, 82 Ks, 77 innings. He has nasty stuff. He's a 2-time All-Star who you would have for the next 2 pennant races. But would the Reds deal within the division?
I don't think the fact that the division makes that big of a difference, but I do think the fact that the Cardinals, again, would not want to overpay in terms of prospects and then see those guys, playing them 18 times a year coming up in the next couple of 3 years. I think that does have a factor in there. I think the Reds are going to be able to, with Castillo probably being the top pitching guy on the market as far as the next week are concerned, they're going to be able to sit there and wait for everybody's best offers. And I think somebody will probably pay them more than the Cardinals will be willing to pay them in terms of prospects.
In terms of greatness, in our town on the women's side of golf, it starts and ends with Ellen Port. And the 60-year-old is pulling a John Wayne and going north to Alaska for the first ever USGA event held in the 49th state. It's the U.S. Women's Senior Amateur event. And if Port wins, she would tie Joanne Carner for most USGA victories at 8.
Well, it'd be awesome. It's just, I've been working super hard on my game, and I won 7, so I don't want to be greedy. But every time I tee it up, I'm playing to win, and it would be historic to do it in Alaska. A lot of times I get a vibe when I'm at a course, and I'm really curious, like when a couple times when I've won, I've just walked in a place and I've just said, I have a really good feeling about this. So I'm kind of hoping maybe I walk off that plane or get to the golf course and just say, I just have a really good feeling about this.
She is amazing. So is Tom Brady, and he has another toy to play with, and this is a talented one. Julio Jones signed a 1-year contract with the Bucs. Jones has nearly 900 catches for nearly 13,000 yards. The 7-time Pro Bowler has battled injuries, but when healthy, he is dangerous. And that will do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks.
We want to invite you to join our Give 75 campaign by giving to any organization that's making a difference in St. Louis. Donate now through our partnership with the St. Louis Community Foundation. More information can be found at ksdk.com/give75. We'll be right back.
One last check of the radar for you tonight before we go, and we're talking a few scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder starting to develop out into parts of mid-Missouri, back over the Ozarks. This is all well to the west of St. Louis. It's going to take a while before we get the rain in here, but it will arrive later tonight and into the early part of tomorrow. And yes, there will be some downpours, but it keeps moving, and it's not going to be the intense rainfall like we saw earlier this morning that caused so much of a problem, as it was very persistent training over the same areas over and over, leaving some of us with more than a foot of rain in the rain gauge and several feet of water in our basements. Meantime, tomorrow morning should be a lot different, but still wet out the door for your early morning rush hour. Anthony Slaughter will have the latest starting at 4 a.m.
$830 million is up for grabs tonight. That's the jackpot for the Mega Millions drawing. It's the largest lotto prize ever. All right, the winning numbers drawn just 30 minutes ago. They are 7, 29, look at this, 60, 63, and 66 back to back. And the Mega Ball is 15. You haven't left yet. So
I
you're
did not.
still
I
here.
did not play.
Okay. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Jimmy's guest tonight, John Krasinski and Reggae Jean Page. Start your day with Today in St. Louis. Anthony will have the latest on the rain at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.